So before we continue with the video, I want to talk to you guys about where I got this shirt from, and you probably guessed it, jerseyfifa.com. They have kindly sponsored today's video and also sent me a load of free shirts for me to check out myself, and I can now really vouch for the quality of these products. They have loads of shirts to offer on the website, so if you are interested, head to the link in the description down below and check out Jersey FIFA for yourself. Good morning guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel and the Scouting for Manchester United series, where today we are looking at yet another midfielder which maybe could solve the problem which Manchester United have. They can't play through the midfield, there's no technical players. Now, Kökçü is a player which has been linked heavily with the club in the last couple of weeks, so I thought we would check him out. Now, before we get into it, pronunciation. Kökçü is what I'm going with. I think it's that. I can only apologise if I'm wrong. I think if I'm right, you should subscribe. And if I'm wrong, you should subscribe and turn the notifications on, press that little bell. That would really let me know that I'm wrong. So if you could do that, that would be great. Maybe let me know in the comments as well. But let's talk about Kökçü, because this is a player which I really like the look of. Technically, he's very good, very technically secure, brilliant on the ball, wants the ball a lot. So let's take a look. For me, he would be up there in terms of midfielders which United should be pursuing. 22 years old, currently plays for Feyenoord, stands at about 5'7" tall, which, if you ask me, is really tall. Just to clarify on that, I don't actually think 5'7" is really tall. I'm shorter than that. Last time I made that comment, I got loads of people telling me 5'7" is in fact short. So he's 5'7". That's all that matters. Okay, two-footed, very two-footed. You can see here that it says foot both. I always like it when you see that because it means people aren't really too sure what foot he is because he's so good on both. But he is right-footed. That's how he takes all his set pieces. But very capable on both feet, which makes him very good. So the question is, if he was to play for United, where would he be playing? What is his position? Because I've said he's a midfielder. But what does that mean? Is he a deep player? Is he a first phase player, middle phase, final third, creative? What is he? Well, earlier in his career, he was a bit more of an attacking midfielder. At times, he even played on the wing, but kind of in that number 10 position off a striker, and he looked really good there. A lot of creative numbers. However, kind of as the seasons have gone on, over the past couple of years, he's kind of dropped into a deeper and deeper position. And what we can see now is that he is very much a left-sided central midfielder. Now, I wonder what is the exact position United need. That's right, a left-sided central midfielder. So what would he bring to the team? Well, let's talk in the middle third, because for me this is where he really thrives. I think once his team is set up in possession, he is absolutely brilliant. And what I really like about him is that he is a high volume player. So let's say he was in this Manchester United system, and United build in possession. Let's come up with a shape real quick, and it looks something like... Let's go with something like this. For example, let's go with that shape there. United are dominating the ball. This is where Kökçü is very good. He demands the ball constantly, and he's what we would call a high volume player, always demanding the ball. Now currently United don't really have that. Bruno Fernandes has done it at times recently against Brentford and Everton, but Casemiro isn't someone which goes about demanding the ball. Eriksen isn't really, not to the same extent. Kökçü wants the ball. I watched him last night against Roma. Always on the ball, always trying to make things happen, and he is really good in these areas. Now, like I said, technically also very good. He's one of those players which you can put in different situations, and he's just so good with the ball that he deals with it. Compare that to the likes of Fred, McTominay, Sabitzer, even Eriksen. He is better technically and close control than all of those players, which I think is the sort of thing United need. They need those problem solvers that can deal with the ball in tight spaces. I think it's what Ten Hag demands from his midfielders. Whether they're dropping deep or not is something we'll come back onto later on in the video, but anywhere on the pitch, he wants players which can do a job in confined spaces. Now, as well as kind of operating potentially a bit higher in these confined spaces, he's also happy to drop deeper as well. At times this season, we've seen him dropping into a centre-back position like this. Let's say, for example, Dalot would be higher. We can see him dropping in between the centre-backs to get the ball. At times he will drop outside the centre-backs to get the ball. There are also situations where he'll drop into a singular pivot role in kind of like a 3-1 shape. He just drops into different positions all the time to try and get the ball. And it's kind of reflected in his FBref report, particularly his passes. Where passes attempted and completed, he's ranking in the 98th and 97th percentile respectively, attempting 79 passes per game, which is extremely high. Now, we've got to remember with the FBref report that one, this is in the Eredivisie, it's not in the best league in the world, and also this isn't compared to the top 5 leagues, it's kind of that next bracket after that. But still, the numbers are really good. Now, what you might notice there a little bit lower is that his pass completion rate isn't too good, only ranking in the 39th percentile, and it's the same for his medium range passing completion, 39th percentile, and the 18th percentile for his pass completion with longer passes. So if he was to join United, I think something which he would need to work on is his retention at times. Now, I think the reason that he can be a bit loose on the ball at times at the moment for Feyenoord is because he is really their orchestrator on the ball and kind of the main man which makes stuff happen. That's what his role in the team is. So at times he does look to get the ball forward a bit too quickly. I think in a United side, which is more settled in possession, got better players around him like Bruno Fernandes, Lisandro Martinez, Luke Shaw, whoever it might be, I think we would see a natural improvement in that, and also I think he will naturally develop as well. Because, of course, like I was saying, earlier in his career he was playing higher up the pitch, so there's kind of more emphasis on creativity, trying risky passes. He still needs to get used to this role where, you keep your passing a little bit safer. His long passes in particular, if he was to join United, would need improvement. I think a weapon which United need to use more is to switch from this left-hand side out to Antony. Kökçü right now isn't a player which is going to come and do that with a high success rate. However, again, I'm pretty confident from what I've seen that he would be able to develop in that area. And what else he's really going to do, though, is progress the ball. So yes, he's a player which is going to have, 90 touches in a game, which is exactly what United need, high volume. He's going to keep the ball for his side, progress it well, and, play about in these areas, pick the ball up, kind of deal with the ball in tight spaces. When he's pressed here, he's going to wiggle away from danger. But what he is also really good at is getting the ball forward. This isn't a, quote, sideways merchant. Kökçü is one of the most progressive midfielders in the world at the moment, and genuinely at times, his progressive passing is up there with the best that I can remember seeing. It's really, really good. Now, again, of course, you've got the environment and what's the word for it? The context of the league that he's playing in, things like that, the side he's playing in. But he is ridiculously progressive. Because not only is he having this high number of touches, high number of passes, but he's also an excellent dribbler, ranking in the 98th percentile for his carries, the 97th percentile for total carrying distance and progressive carrying distance, the 96th percentile for progressive carries. We've got carries into the final third, carries into the penalty area, and also the 99th percentile for progressive passes. This is someone who just constantly gets the ball moving forward, and again, that's why at times he does lose the ball, because he tries to go forward a bit too quickly. However, what you can see though is that the fundamental kind of skill set is there, that if kind of worked with and refined perhaps in training under someone like Erik ten Hag, we could see a real monster on the ball here, because his progressing ability is just bonkers. Like, his ability to dribble through the pitch is a joke, and this is something that United don't have. Eriksen has played well at times this season, Sabitzer, Fred, they've all done well in this area. Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro, we know how good they are. But none of them are players that can take the ball in the middle of the pitch and dribble past 2 or 3 players through the centre. Barcelona have it in Frenkie de Jong, Manchester City have it in Bernardo Silva, Odegaard does it at times for Arsenal. The best teams have those players which can just beat players. Manchester United don't really have that in the middle of the pitch. Kökçü would bring it. His ability to progress the ball is second to none, and it's what for me makes him really stand out amongst other candidates for the kind of the role in United midfield. He is just so good at getting the ball forward. Really, really good, and that really would help. Now, of course, if you've got a player like that, which is going to progress the ball for your team, it means that United are going to be able to create more attacks if he joins the club. So United are going to get into these advanced areas on a more regular basis. The question is, can Kökçü kind of contribute in this area? Because United do need that. Eriksen earlier in the season was creating a lot of chances, and we have seen United's performances dip a little bit with Eriksen out of the team because they haven't been able to create quite as much with Fred in the side. So if Kökçü was to come in and play this sort of role, he does need to provide in the final third. And he does. If we look at his stats from this season, 8 goals and... Nope, I can't count. 8 goals in the league, 12 goals and 4 assists in all competitions. Now, some people might look at that and say, well, 4 assists is a little bit low, or 12 goals, maybe some of them are penalties or a little bit fluky, whatever. But if we kind of delve into the deeper numbers a little bit, this guy, he's not reliant on penalties. And he should have more assists. These numbers are all super good. Passes into the final third, passes into the penalty area, crosses into the penalty area. Again, we've got progressive passes, key passes, expected assists. We can see that his expected assist is in the 99th percentile. His assists is in the 64th percentile. So his expected assist is 0.28 per 90. His actual assist is 0.1. So his low assist numbers, only 4 in all competitions this season, is actually a reflection of the players around him not finishing chances. And then at the top there, non-penalty goals, the 95th percentile, non-penalty XG, the 92nd percentile, suggesting he's a good finisher, and shots total, 98th percentile. He would really help United in the final third. Massively against deep teams, low blocks, which I think we're going to see more of next season as United become a better unit in possession, now have more possession, more territory. The opposition are going to drop deeper, make it really tight and compact. Can you break them down? Kökçü can break them down. In terms of in possession, I think we're seeing that he ticks pretty much every box. The only question mark I have so far is over retention a little bit, although, like I've already said, I think he would work on that, and I think he would improve and really be good in that area. He's going to help the team progress the ball in the middle third, he's going to have a ridiculous amount of passes and touches to set the tempo for the side, exactly what the United team needs, the orchestrator on the ball, but also he's going to contribute in the final third, create chances, score goals. The question, the big question, which we talk about all the time with United, can he do it in the first third? Is he press resistant? Is he a first phase player? This is where I'm a little bit unsure. Now, the only reason I'm a bit unsure is because he almost isn't asked to do it too much for Feyenoord. Again, I was watching that game against Roma, but there was also, what was the other game I was watching? Their game against Shakhtar in the Europa League. And when they're trying to play out from the back at times, Feyenoord, they'll often drop one of the other midfielders in rather than Kökçü. We don't see Kökçü dropping in here all the time. However, I think there's a real press-resistant player in there. We just haven't fully seen it yet because he hasn't been given that role in the team. So again, that's something you've got to consider when you're looking at a player. You've got to look at the environment, the tactical instructions they're being given. We can look at it and go, he doesn't complete too many dribbles in the first third. But if he isn't being asked to do that or put in the positions to do that, he's not going to. I think from what we've seen from the rest of his skill set, he would bring it. I think he would be a good press-resistant player. The evidence isn't necessarily there at the moment. We see it in glimpses where he drops deep, takes the ball past players and looks really good. Like I said, we just haven't quite seen it enough yet for me to fully kind of concretely go, yes, he is very press resistant. I can't say that, but I think all the stuff is there for him to be that. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, apart from that, though, he looks really good. The questions for me come off the ball. I think defensively he's not great. He works hard, but he's not someone which is going to snap about into a lot of challenges, particularly like someone like Fred might. He doesn't cover a lot of ground, really, but also he's not very quick. Again, someone like Fred is very nippy, gets about the pitch, puts challenges in, covers a lot of ground. Kökçü physically isn't all there. Now, you might say that's not important because he's next to someone like Casemiro, but if you look at Arsenal, Odegaard, Xhaka, Thomas Partey is a really physical midfield. Even Odegaard, people would kind of question that, but he is very physical. He's really developed over the past few years, very strong, wins a lot of duels. Is Kökçü going to bring that to the side? I'm not so sure. Off the ball is where my questions lie, although even a few years ago you wouldn't have said Odegaard. You know, you'd asked the same questions about him, and he's really developed. So Kökçü can definitely develop in that area. Again, it's just something where there's a little bit of uncertainty. However, I really like the look of the 22-year-old. The fact that he's captain of a club top of the league as well at just 22 years old kind of again points to his personality. That's what Ten Hag wants. He wants those leaders in his team. I really like him. I think on the ball he can do everything that United need. Just need to see a little bit more evidence of press resistance and at times safer passing. Off the ball is where the questions are, but for me he just looks like a really, really good player. I think he's probably available for less than 40 million in the summer, which in today's market is super, super cheap. I like the look of him. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments down below. What do you think? Have you watched him? Have you been watching him in the Europa League, in the Eredivisie? What are your thoughts? Are there any other strengths of his which we haven't covered? There certainly are, because this is only a short video. And other weaknesses. What do you think? Defensively, are you worried about his physicality and his ability to cover the ground? Or would Casemiro cover that? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video. And as always, I will see you in the next one.